A 60-year-old in Shanghai or Beijing carries less visceral fat than a 40-year-old in Chicago, not because of genetics, not portion size, not because of the willpower. That's because of the 5 biological eating protocol embedded in culture for centuries that no Western diet trend has replicated. Let me show you exactly why they work. I'm Dr. Ngoundi, a medical doctor and a fitness enthusiast specialized in longevity. Most people believe belly fat after 40 is about eating too much. The biology says otherwise. At 40, three things happen simultaneously inside your body. Number one, insulin sensitivity drops. There is a landmark study in diabetes cares that found that insulin sensitivity decreases by approximately 25% per decade after age 40. What it means practically is that the same meal that maintains your weight at 30 now triggers a fat storage response at 45. Number two, cortisol sensitivity decreases. The adrenal glands do not produce more cortisol after 40, but your fat cells becomes dramatically more responsive to it, specifically visceral fat cells. The fat packed around your organ have 4 times more cortisol receptor than subcutaneous fat. When cortisol spikes, visceral fat is the primary destination. Number three, and this is where it diverges for men and women. For men, free testosterone begin a decline of 1 to 2% per year after 35, while for women, estrogen begins a premenopausal decline between 40 and 45. And here is what is critical. Both of these hormonal changes, low testosterone in men, decline estrogen in women, directly signal the body to preferentially deposit fat in the abdominal region. And this is not an opinion, it is simply endocrinology. So the question is not how do I eat less? The question is how do I eat in a way that counteract these 3 biological changes? And 5 ancient Chinese dietary behaviors answer exactly that question. Now, let me walk you through each one of them. The first behavior, a plant-forward plate at every meal. In traditional Chinese eating patterns, 60 to 70% of the plate is plant-based, not as a rule, but as a habit. Here is the biological mechanism to remember. Soluble fiber found abundantly in vegetables, legumes, and fermented food forms a viscous gel inside the intestine. That gel slows glucose absorption. It blunts the glycemic response of the entire meal by 20 to 30%. Why does that matter after 40? It matters because your insulin sensitivity is already compromised. Every unnecessary glucose spike demand and insulin response your cells are increasingly resistant to. Over time, that chronic hyperinsulinemia tells your body to store, not burn fat. A 2021 meta-analysis of the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that increasing dietary fiber by just 10 grams per day reduced visceral fat accumulation by 3.7% over 2 years, and that is without any other dietary changes. Here is what to do at every meal. Cover at least half your plate with non-starchy vegetables before adding anything else. And that is not a suggestion, it is a biological directive. Protocol number 2, a gentle cooking method. Traditional Chinese cuisine is built on steaming, braising, poaching, and light stir frying. And here is where this gets interesting from a cortisol standpoint. Deep frying and heavy processing produce compounds called advanced glycation end product, AGEs. When you consume AGEs, your immune system mounts an inflammatory response. That inflammation triggers cortisol release. And as I just explained earlier, after 40, cortisol hits your visceral fat depot first. There was a study back in 2015 published in the journal Diabetology that found that a diet high in AGEs increased visceral fat deposition by 28% in adults over 40, independent of caloric intake. You are not just eating calories, you are eating inflammation signals. And after 40, those signals go directly to your waistline. What you should do is to prioritize steaming, boiling, or light stir frying at least 4 meals per week. This is not about being restrictive, it is simply about removing a direct cortisol trigger from your diet. If you're finding this helpful, I want to ask you one thing. What's your favorite way of cooking food? Do you prefer steaming, boiling, or stir frying? I would like to know, as it will tell me, if you need to make some adjustment in your cooking method. And it will also help this video to reach more men and women over 40 who need this information. Now, protocol number 3, and this is for smaller portions, slower eating. In traditional Chinese dining culture, portions are smaller, meals are unhurried, and mostly eating is not done while distracted. Here is the biological reason this matters specifically after 40. Leptin, which is your satiety hormone, signal your brain you're full, stop eating. But after 40, in the context of visceral fat accumulation, leptin resistance develop. Your brain stops receiving the signal correctly. You eat past fullness without even knowing it. The solution here is not willpower, it is pace. There was actually a research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that showed that eating slowly 20 to 30 minutes per meal increases satiety hormone response by up to 17%. This means that leptin signals has time to travel. For women in premenopause, declining estrogen directly accelerates leptin resistance. Slower, smaller meals are not a preference. They are a hormonal management strategy. The protocol here is that you should put your utensil down between bites. Target 20 minutes minimum per meal. Eat without screen. I don't even know how many people can eat without screens nowadays. But anyways, that is another topic for another video. Protocol 4, minimal refined sugar. Traditional Chinese cuisine contains virtually no refined sugar. Sweetness comes from fruit, root vegetables, and minimal natural sources. For men over 40, this is critical, and here is why. Refined sugar accelerates a process called aromatization, and that is the enzymatic conversion of testosterone to estrogen catalyzed by an enzyme called aromatase, which is predominantly found in visceral fat cells. More visceral fat leads to more aromatase activity, and more aromatase leads to more testosterone conversion to estrogen, and that will lead to lower testosterone, which means less muscle, more fat storage, and lower energy. And this is a biological spiral. And refined sugar is the accelerant. A 2019 study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that men consuming more than 40 grams of added sugar per day had 15% lower free testosterone than those consuming less than 15 grams. As for women, refined sugar and inflammatory dietary pattern disrupt estrogen receptor sensitivity, worsening the exact hormonal balance driving premenopausal weight gain. What you should do is to reduce added sugar to under 25 grams per day. Replace all sweetened beverages with water, sparkling water, or Protocol 5, which is to take green tea as a default beverage. Green tea contains polyphenol compound called epigallocatechin gallate, EGCG. A 2020 meta-analysis in the Journal of Obesity analyzed 14 randomized control trials and found that EGCG equivalent to 3 to 4 cups of green tea per day increased fat oxidation in visceral adipose tissue by 17%, reduced fasting insulin level by 12%, improved insulin sensitivity by 8%. These are the exact 3 mechanisms most compromised by hormonal changes of aging. For men, EGCG also mainly inhibits aromatase activity, meaning it slows the testosterone to estrogen conversion that I described in Protocol 4. And for women, EGCG reduces inflammatory marker associated with estrogen receptor disruption. For that, you should take 3 to 4 cups of brewed green tea per day. Brewed, not bottled. Bottled green tea has negligible EGCG content, and this is not optional if you are serious about the biology. Now, let me give you the 5 protocols in order. Protocol 1, the fiber insulin rule. Halve your plate in non-starchy vegetables at every meal. Protocol 2, the cortisol load rule. Steam, braise, or light stir fry. Minimize fried and ultra-processed food. Protocol 3, the Leptin Reset. 20-minute minimum per meal. Utensils down between bites. No screen. Protocol 4, the Hormone Protector Rule. Reduce added sugar to under 25 grams per day. Protocol 5, the EGCG Mechanism, 3 to 4 cups of brewed green tea daily. These are not dietary preferences. These are biological interventions that target the specific hormonal environment of the body after 40. Now, here is your medical directive. Before you make significant dietary changes, ask your doctor for 3 specific tests at your next checkup. For men, a full testosterone panel will be needed. And I am talking about total testosterone, free testosterone, and estradiol. This gives you a baseline to measure your hormonal response to these protocols. And for women, an estradiol level and a fasting insulin test will be necessary. These tell you exactly where your hormonal and metabolic baseline sit before you begin. You are no longer guessing, you are tracking. Well, if this video shifted how you think about belly fat after 40, drop protocol in the comments below. It tells me you're committed to understanding your biology, not just following another diet. And if you want to understand the full hormonal pictures of why men specifically accumulate fat differently after 40, I have a video on exactly that. Train smart, live long, and I will see you in the next video. And remember, age on your own terms.